Okay, I just want to finish up this file from last week. We started looking at our different costs. Now we're going to look at the revenue part. But first thing I want to do is a quick Excel. And again, the one thing to learn when you're in college here is Excel. Um, it's what employers like to see you have a great knowledge of and will really appreciate it. So here, notice again these average fixed costs for this first one is what? B4 divided by A4. Again, the total fixed cost divided by the output. Same thing, the average variable cost is the variable cost, total variable cost, divided by the output. Same A4, right? And again, if I look down here, average total cost, it's taking again, the total cost divided by, again, that output, right, by column A. So instead of putting in these three columns with separate formulas, we should do it in just one formula using the proper absolute because, again, we always want to divide columns B, C, and D by column A, by the output, to figure out the average fixed costs, variable costs, and total costs. So I'm going to delete these out, and I just want to do equal. Again, we're doing the average fixed cost, so I'm going to take the fixed costs divided by A4. And again, I want to be able to copy this one formula down and then over. So I'm just going to tap my F4 key, and don't ask me what it is in the Mac, but you can look it up, until the $ is just in front of the A. Because when I copy it down, I want to go from A4 to A5, but when I copy it over to the right once, I want it to stay, again, A4. It'll be C4 divided by A4. So I'm just going to enter that in. I get my 200. I'm going to throw it down. While it's still highlighted, I'm just going to go and get my autofill and drag it to the right. And again, I get the same results, but again, you always check when you do these things. I'm going to double click here on this first one, the average variable cost at 5 output. So it should take, right, the variable costs at the output of 5 divided by the 5. So I'm going to escape out of there. Again, if you go in and check, hit the escape key, will get you out. All right, my marginal revenues we want to figure out next. Again, how much does revenue go up? Again, with each additional output. And here, because it's pure competition, I can't change my prices. What I get for my product. Again, how much I sell it for. It's always going to be the same. So I'm going to just take the price here. Again, I'm in A4. I'm equal sign. Clicking on this M3, I'm going to absolute this. Please use your absolutes. I will check because I want to copy it down, have the same thing all the way down. Marginal revenue, doesn't matter my output, how much I produce, the price I'm going to charge is going to be the same. So the marginal revenue is going to be the same all the way down. Loving it. Total revenue here. So what's my total revenue? I'm just going to take my price times output. It's basically, again, total revenue is price times quantity produced, right? How much I sold and how much I sold it for. So I'm going to take this at quantity 1. There is no total revenue, of course, with 0 output when I produce nothing. Multiply this times the 300. So that's my total revenue if I just sold one output of this product, right? Great, 300. Then if I throw it down, right, my total revenue goes up and up and up. Of course, because again, if I just double click on one of these things, it takes the 300 price times the output of 8. So far, so good. Profit, how much profit do we make? Again, I was going to take my total revenue minus my total cost, and that will figure out my profit. So actually, I should have done this before. I'm just going to copy this formula back up so I do get the 0 here. And this one, this is again taking the marginal revenue, and again, I could put I should just copy this one up to because we want to see our profit. We have no output to. So I'm just putting these two up at the top. So profit is going to be of course, my total revenue minus my total costs. So equal. So again, if I make 0 output, my profit should be a negative number, right? Because I still got fixed cost, but I don't have any revenue. So I'm going to take my total revenue, this J3, minus my total cost of 200, and boom, bada boom, yeah, negative 200, right? Got my parentheses around it. And I just throw it down. Boom, and there I can see my profits. Again, negative for a while, which is certain outputs. Again, taking advantage of specialization, economies of scale. Then my profits will start to increase. They will decrease because of diminishing marginal returns. Again, but here we want to see profit maximization should be where, again, MR equals MC. So I'm going to put this in yellow. Let's see, 300, 300, right? This is where my marginal cost, my marginal revenue are the same. And then I can see, yeah, there's my, again, highest profit, similar to the one up above, of course, but you always want to produce more if possible. So where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, there is my, again, profit maximization. And then I can just try out different prices. What's going to happen? Again, this is a farmer. Farmers are dependent on, again, the industry to set the prices. What happens if prices drop? What should I do? So here, I got some 3 prices here. I'm just going to try them out in this cell here, right? In M3, just playing around. And again, this will help you do these assignments. Understand this stuff. I'm just going to put in what? The 275. If I look at 275, boom. And then notice my marginal revenue, marginal cost. The old one doesn't fit, so I'm going to take off the color. No fill. And I'm going to see where marginal revenue is close to marginal cost. And it's right here now, right? At the output of 6. That is the closest for it. And again, here's my profit of 90. So again, if prices drop, I should restrict my output, right? That will allow me, because if I produced again at 7, I wouldn't be making as much profit as if I produced at the output of 6. So just try to play around with these things. I'm going to take off my fill color again. So let's see, let's try 240. If I do 240, boom, no profit at all, right? Notice my profits are all negatives. But if I look at where's marginal cost, marginal revenue are the closest, and I believe it's right here, then again, I got a negative 100 profit. Here, we're not making money, but we would still keep going because look what happens if I shut down right now. I still have to pay my fixed costs, right, in the short run. So if I shut down and make 0 output, I would lose more money. So this is why you keep going in the long run. Why you keep going in the short run, because it would cost me more to shut down. But let's see, here's a worst case scenario, right? Prices drop 200, right? Then notice here, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, where am I getting this around? It's right around, right? Where is it? It's around here, right? 200, right? If I keep going, I'm going to lose $280. But if I shut down, I'll only use $200. So here, again, I should shut down, right? It would make more sense. It would cost me less to shut down. So I'm going to put it back to the original 300 here. And again, this is, where you can just play around with this when you take the test. But let's do a quick graph again. So I'm just going to graph my, what am I going to graph? I'm going to graph my average variable cost. Again, so here, I don't want to include this line here, right? Row 3 in my graph. But I want the titles in row 2. So I'm clicking on the first one and then using the control key. I'm just holding the control key down, highlighting these numbers. Click once on ATC, then click and drag down. I also want to do, of course, the marginal cost and then marginal revenue. May take a couple times to do this. And then let's see, we're going to insert my line graph. The first one is fine. Boom. I love it. I don't really care about the chart title here, so I'm just going to delete this thing out. It gives me more room. I'm going to change my scaling so it starts at 150. So I'm going to double click. on my Y scaling here, over to the left here, the minimum 150. All right, do this all the time with the graphs, and I'm just going to shrink it up a little bit. All right, so again, marginal cost will always intersect average total cost and average variable cost at their minimum. So here I can easily see that this is making economic profit, right? Because where marginal revenue equals marginal cost is right here, right? I'm above my average total cost line. I'm doing really well. If I change this price again to play around and do the 241, boom, then look at it, marginal revenue goes down, right? And again, because the industry, something happened and I'm not getting as much money for my product as with wheat farmers. Notice the marginal revenue is down. It's below total cost, so I'm not making profit, but it's still above the variable cost. I'm still covering my variable cost. So I should keep going. And again, you can see here where the profit maximization is negative 100. If we close down, our profit maximization would be negative 200. That would be dumb in the, again, short run to close down. But again, it all falls apart if I change the price up here in M3 to 200, then my marginal revenue line goes down. Where marginal revenue goes marginal cost, it's below basically my variable cost. I'm not covering my variable cost. Close the thing down. Right? All right, so it's a good spreadsheet to take a look at. I think the My Econ Lab is fairly self-explanatory this week, but if you have trouble with it, email me or talk to me about it on Monday. All right, have a nice weekend.